We're now looking at Trump's defense. In court, Trump's attorneys Chris Kise and Alina Habba gave their opening statements. Kise insisting that, quote, the attorney general has no case, and then claiming, in essence, that it's all just a big misunderstanding, saying, quote, the AG's office is trying to convince everyone that there's only one way to find a value, and adding that there are different ways to value a given property. Trump's lawyers adding the loan transactions were successful and profitable. Quote, the banks made well over $100 million. There was also another attorney there representing the Trump family, Eric Trump and Don Jr. And that Trump family attorney used his time to attack a key witness for the prosecution, Michael Cohen, saying, quote, when you talk about credibility, you will have a guy who lied to everyone, a convicted felon. And despite the wild fluctuations in Trump's valuation, sometimes as much as 10 times the appraised value, Alina Habba said, quote, there was no intent to defraud, period, the end. But of course, the judge has already decided that Trump and the other defendants committed fraud. And that's now settled as a matter of law. So this trial is about how much money will Trump pay in damages, potentially upwards of $250 million, and whether he and the family members that are a part of this case will effectively be banned from doing business in his home state of New York. Back with me is Neal Katyal and Maya Wiley. Maya, I want to start with you. So Donald Trump's defense saying this is a, quote, victimless crime and that the lenders actually profited from these financial transactions. But how do you think Justice Engoron's going to address that particular argument?
Well, in a sense, he has already addressed it in his opinion that he issued last week, which was to say, look, you know, the way the law in New York works, this is about deception. This is about the capacity or the tendency to create an environment and a climate of fraud. This isn't about whether or not the harm that the Attorney General is focusing on is the harm that this kind of environment and climate creates. And yes, you know, now that with these remaining charges, essentially the counts, I should say, you know, there is a question of intent. So certainly if to the extent they have the evidence, there could be some defense on what Donald Trump had the intent to do and how material it was. Those are facts that the judge said are going to be at issue in this trial. But the question then is the evidence. It's not that they have to show that there was an actual loss of money. That is one of the things that has frustrated this judge, that has had this judge excoriating these lawyers, you know, and frankly, in some instances, being quite snarky and sarcastic because he has been so frustrated with them in terms of the statements they make. And you could even hear that today in this trial when they were objecting at points and the judge was saying, that's just not true. You know, he wasn't just saying overruled. He was like, no, that's not a fact. I mean, that's the issue here is what are the facts? And frankly, there's a lot of evidence here for the prosecution. We have yet to hear strong evidence from the defense, but we sure have heard a lot of posturing.
Neal, I want to kind of go down the road a little bit on this from an appellate standpoint. You and I, having dealt with motions for summary judgment, there was partial summary judgment granted. That's what we keep on referring to from that multi-page, that 35-page order that was issued by Justice Engoron last week. For me, from my experience, fraud cases normally don't get summary judgment. Normally, fraud cases, quote, go to the jury or go to the judge because it really turns on intent. But to Maya's point, that argument that there was no intent to defraud, that was raised previously in the papers by Trump's defense. Justice Engoron already disposing of it, citing to law in New York that says you don't have to prove intent for violations of the particular count that he has granted partial summary judgment on. Considering what we know in the limited sense, Neal, what is your opinion on the success of a potential appeal of this particular order that Justice Engoron entered last week?
Slim to none, Katie. I think that the justice there applied New York law, which is pretty standard law, that you don't have to show intent to defraud. And I think Trump's lawyers put on really not much of a legal case in their papers before the justice that led to this, what we call a summary judgment motion, which means taking this issue away from the trial because it's so clear in one side in favor of Tish James, in favor of the inflating of the assets. And so that left Trump's attorneys today with really only one kind of strong argument outside of the ad hominem attacks on Michael Cohen and the like. And that was to say, well, real estate valuations fluctuate all the time. As you know, Trump's lawyer said, everyone has a different opinion as to valuation. That's the heart of the defense. They got two real serious problems, Katie, in making that defense here. You know, one is, look, we'll spot you. There are some differences between real estate valuations. Like, I want to buy a condo, I put it down for a $100,000 offer, and it sells for $105,000. Or I say my house has a square footage of 2,000 square feet, and it's 2,100. Okay, you know, those things happen, minor variations. This is nowhere like that. This is a scope of difference of magnitude is unimaginable. I mean, you know, Trump's penthouse where he lived, he claimed it was 33,000 square feet when it was about 10,000 square feet. I mean, it was his own apartment. He got it wrong by massive, massive numbers. That's one problem. The other is the valuation is always in one direction, the errors that, you know, that Tish James has found. It'd be one thing if the valuation differences sometimes hurt him and other times helped him, but they always helped him every time. So, you know, given those two things, I think it's a very rocky road for the defense, which is why they're not really putting on a legal defense. They're putting on a political defense.